Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here. This is the Daily Medicine Transmission for July 7th, 7/7/2021. Welcome back to my subscribers, my regular viewing audience. You truly are the lifeblood of this channel, and I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new here, welcome. It's wonderful to have you here. And as always, whenever you subscribe, like, comment, and share any of this content, whether you're on BitChute or YouTube, it actually does support independent content creators like myself who are not on the take, so to speak. And not so much for me and supporting me, although that's great, but it actually impacts the AI algorithm that will spread this message to a larger and wider audience. So if you find this content helpful, if you find it valuable and inspiring, when you interact with the content in any way, it actually does help get that message out to more people. So welcome to today's transmission. The title of transmission just for today, I am God's light. Some people still choke on that word. I used to be one of those people. I am very thankful that I'm not one of those people anymore. But it is part of a prayer that I offer every morning that has incorporated the Reiki principles. In case you don't know, I'm a Reiki master. I've been a practitioner for about 15, 16 years now. I used to be a professional massage therapist and a body worker, and so I was using Reiki on a very regular basis with all of those clients. So the Reiki principles are just a set of really basic principles to live by. And I have created a meditation and a prayer that invokes not only those principles, but brings it all together into an understanding and asking for, right, this opportunity to be not only the light, but God's light, right? Source Creator's light, the highest light that there is. And if you're familiar with Reiki, you practice it, you've received it, you know what it's about, you know that it is in fact the highest vibration light. It is the light of Source Creator that is channeled through the practitioner and goes wherever it needs to go. And so I'm actually going to put together that prayer. I've done it before. I'm going to put it together and post it on social media. It's a great way to start your day. It's a great way to kind of center yourself with a meditation. If you find it really hard to sit in stillness and really let the mind settle, this is a great way to kick that off, because not only does it give your mind something very singular to focus on, kind of like the breath, you can incorporate it into the movement of your breath, which is what I do. And it really does ground and change the resonance almost immediately, I have found. If I am really struggling to settle my mind and get into that state, I just begin this process, this prayer, and it immediately takes me there. So I'm going to post that later today on social media. So let's talk about this energy coming in, because it is still coming in, and I've gotten plenty of confirmation from different sources now, either comments on this yesterday's transmission, personal interactions with other people, and the upgrading is still coming in very strongly, and it's not going to necessarily stop. Carrie K, if you're familiar with Carrie K, I'll link this video also on social media. So it's a good opportunity to follow me, especially on Telegram. I mean, I'm hardly on Facebook anymore, really, just to post these types of things for Catalyst, but Telegram is a great place to connect, so you can connect to that in the description box below. But Carrie K, if you're familiar with her work, she just posted a really short video yesterday, and she described it as the quickening. And boy, oh boy, that's exactly what it feels like. It is up leveling on so many ways. And this activation, this DNA activation, and this influx of higher light and higher frequency radiation is not really stopping. And I mean, the Schumann is certainly having its moments of spiking, and it did so again today. But there's not a ton of consistent buffer with this energy coming in, and it feels almost intentional. It feels like that for those of us who are ready and willing and have asked for and consented to this upgrade and this quickening, we are being bombarded, that is for sure. And so the symptoms, incredible inflammation in the body, headaches, migraines, exhaustion from just trying to process all of this. It's really important that you stay hydrated, that you are taking good care of your nutrition and your consumables. You are doing what you need to do. Self-Reiki is an incredible thing right now. Anything that you can do to really support the process of this upgrade is really important. So listen to your body. Don't try to push too hard if it feels like that you shouldn't. And if you need to move, that's the other thing. Movement, if that's what your body is asking for in order to keep things flowing, definitely listen to that as well. I've been really it's very hot here, as it is in probably many places right now in the Northern Hemisphere in terms of summertime. But earlier in the day, I'm usually getting a soak in. That really helps move things around. It also relaxes the body. It brings blood to the surface. It allows the lymph to move as well. So things like that can be very stimulating and simultaneously relaxing. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself, but also know that it is happening, right? These upgrades are happening, and it came in like a Mack truck, right? It was just like bam. And so we're going to see today in the astrology that there's some significant shifts. There's not a ton of transits today, which I'm actually very grateful for, because tomorrow, as we move into this balsamic moon, right? Because we have a new moon in Cancer on the 9th. And so we are getting into the balsamic moon phase, right? Everything is reduced. It's dark. We're getting down into the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. And it's a good time to just let yourself be and let the last bit of this lunar cycle that did start with a solar eclipse, just, don't forget about that. It's been so intense because this lunar cycle started with a solar eclipse. Let things settle, allow things to integrate and process. And if you're having a lot of really strong physical symptoms right now that seemingly are not connected to anything else that you're doing, just realize this is part of the quickening. So, not a ton of transits. The moon is still in Gemini. It's going to be in Gemini for today. It's going to move into Cancer tomorrow. Which is the home territory of the moon. So she's going to be very pleased about this, and we will feel very motivated to feel secure, to feel safe, to have a shell in some ways for our emotional vulnerability and our feelings, right? Our feelings and our emotional landscape, finding that security blanket or that nurturing and protection that Cancer really represents. And so, but on a lot, and we'll look at the astrology here, but it's really important to point out that there are major shifts happening. Saturn is in its retrograde, moving into the next degree backwards now. So the archetypal resonance of where Saturn has been sitting in terms of a Sabian symbol, right? Because the Sabian symbols, right, they each symbol, each degree has its own archetype associated with it. And then each decan has its own archetype associated with it. Each sign has its own archetype, right? Each house, and it just spreads and spreads and spreads like this beautiful mandala. So Saturn, does move fairly slow. It takes 28 years for it to move in its rotation around the sun. So when it changes degree, it's very noticeable and stays in these positions for a long time. Uranus, even more so, 84 years to move around the sun. And that is moving into the next degree. And so the quickening is here. And as uncomfortable as these physical upgrades may have been for many of us, I assure you that it is in, exactly the right timing for what we need, as things are about to get a lot more difficult for some people and a lot just whoa for other people. It's going to just heighten so much, and it's important that we allow this process to unfold. And this new moon that we're coming to, we'll do a whole report about it on Friday, on the day of the new moon. We'll look at the major transits. We'll look at the basic themes of this entire lunar cycle. But what what decisions we've come to with that solstice point of the sun coming into Cancer, 0 degrees Cancer, will in fact be sanctified. The productive relationships will be sanctified with this new moon. And so we want to make sure that we are exactly where we want to be. And the only timing is in fact divine timing. So chances are we are exactly where we need to be. It's a matter of embracing that and being conscious of it and allowing our thought forms and our energy to flow into a positive trajectory of sovereignty, right? We have Leo with Venus and Mars, right? These two aspects of the masculine and feminine in a very incarnated way to be in this sign of personal sovereignty, creative self-expression, the passion that drives us as individuals. So there's support for that as well, even though there is this opposition to Saturn in Aquarius, of course. Really bringing it home to the reality that the collective connection and the collective energy and the collective cohesion, right, is based on individual sovereign beings in their full state of expression and individuality. So and of course, Mercury is leaving its post-retrograde shadow today. Yay! So that's also something to consider, is that we're about to move into the last couple of degrees of Gemini, which is new, quote-unquote, new territory. We're moving out of the retrograde. And if you remember where Mercury stationed retrograde, that Sabian symbol, all about pruning. And we definitely did some pruning, did we not, over the course of Mercury's retrograde. And now it's coming back. And whatever is left, it's time to snip off whatever is left in order to move forward. So let's look at the reading for today and get a sense of where we're at. I hope everybody's doing as well as they can. Please, I cannot stress enough how important it is to take care of yourself, to stay hydrated, to give your body what it needs to naturally handle these energies coming in. The quickening is a real thing, and I was so grateful to have caught that little bit of a blurb from Carrie Kay, because it just encompassed everything so beautifully in terms of this. And it's okay if it's okay to take a break, right? We need to, some people, you need to take a break so that we can show up for this process. Other people can pick up some slack in other ways, do what you need to do to take care of yourself. So we see here some fire seemingly, but it's really a balance of water and fire on either bookend here of this reading, with the 10 of Cups reversed and the Queen of Wands reversed. And the 10 of Cups is Mars in Pisces, right? Queen of Wands is the water of fire. So water, fire, both on the causal end and the effect end of this reading. In the heart of the reading today, in the heart of us, is the Star card, right? That guiding light and cosmic optimism that is at the heart of things. It will be important that we acknowledge that things that may seem like we're not getting where we want to go, it may seem like we're putting in a lot of effort to get nowhere. It's important that we be aware of that, be aware of where our thoughts are being projected to, and not get caught in the tailspin of what we don't have. And if we are putting in a lot of effort in a certain trajectory and we feel like we're just not getting anything out of it, ask for guidance and be vigilant about paying attention, right? It's not going to just some people, it's taken a long time for their guidance system to be fine-tuned and to know what to listen for and what it sounds like to them. But vigilance is important. So let's go through this one piece at a time here. 10 of Cups, being satiated emotionally, Mars in Pisces. Now, normally this is the completed journey. Well, in both cases, it's a completed journey. The 10 is the end and the beginning, the 1 and the 0. Completed journey, seeking inner completion, right? And fulfillment. And in some ways, it's so fulfilled that it's spilling over. It's very forceful, right? The Mars in Pisces. You can see Mars, how forceful it is. The water shooting out of all of these cups because there's just so much. In fact, it's shooting out from the top cup from all all angles, right? From the top, from the bottom, from the sides. It's so full and it's so forceful that it's shooting out like a, like a hose or an irrigation system, or just like this torrent of water, right? So being satiated means satisfied, full, so full you can't take in anymore. And this is why it's spilling over so much. And Mars is very forceful, isn't it? Mars is the ruler of Aries. It is the warrior within us. It is that divine masculine warrior, soldier, superhero, action hero energy that pushes forward, is brave and ambitious and courageous, and goes for what it wants, because it's about self-actualization in Aries. So reversed, there's a lot of things going on here, isn't it? Some people are not feeling satiated. Some people are wasting their energy. Some people are, what's the word I'm looking for? It's debaucherous. And so they are, giving into this debauchery, and an overload. I feel like an overload of feeling is a big part of this right now, especially with the starseeds and those who have, in fact, consented to the quickening. They're ready to go. And so it is an overload. That is for sure. And almost to the point where we have to kind of just like sit back and let it happen. And so when it's reversed, like I said, there's a lot of different ways this reversal can unfold in itself. But the causal factor here is this kind of overload of emotion, an overload of spirit, an overload of water, and it's very forceful. And so if you've had inflammation in your body, if you've had these incredible headaches or pain or anything like that, this is really a big part of it. And so even as the cycle is in fact turning over in terms of our spirit, our feelings, the emotions that the water represents, it's coming in very hot and forceful, and it's really hard to hold right now. And this is why it's important to just let this process unfold and do what needs to be done. We don't have to keep pushing and pushing. Now, Mars in Leo, it's not exactly making this easy, but now Mars has moved from the first half of Leo, which is the combustion phase, into the release. And so I would invite you to see this as an opportunity to release all of this. It's one thing to be satisfied. It's another thing to be overfilled. And I think many of us are feeling that way. And you just have to allow for the processing to happen. It's like when you eat too much too quickly, and then you're just so full that it's like uncomfortable and you almost want to vomit. Oh my God. If you are a fan of Monty Python, I know you know Monty Python at all. You know exactly where I'm going with this. I don't even need to necessarily, it's in the movie, The Meaning of Life. So there is a scene that encompasses what happens when you eat too much and you don't stop yourself. So, but this is more about an spirit and feelings and the overwhelm coming in. So some people are not handling this very well at all. And this is where it goes into the inner emptiness, right? The wastefulness, the debauchery. But this is a serious overload. That's this causal factor coming into this moment. Now, at the heart of the moment is so beautiful. Our star card, number 17, the Aquarian card. The guiding light, right? The cosmic optimism, the confidence in nature and life, and the sensitive understanding of cosmic coherence, right? For Libra, for instance, as cardinal air is the application of our knowledge to perfect the form of balance and coherence. Well, Aquarius is about using our feeling, right? The water bearer, to find that cosmic coherence, sensitive understanding of cosmic coherence. So there's a creative hope and optimism and trust here at the heart of the moment with the star card. It's very beautiful. And you can see that she is bathing herself in starlight, and in fact also offering that same starlight to the earth, right? To the planet. And so there is this beautiful give and take here that is also part of this energy. And, number 17, we're very familiar with that in some circles, are we not? And it is this cosmic optimism and a confidence in what's going on. So this is at the heart today, even with this overload of energy that has come in that is really kind of flattening us in some way. So holding this star card, right, this energy in the heart of us today is really going to assist, even though it's not going to fully take it all away. As we're going to see, the Queen of Wands is still reversed, but it will give us this guiding light to focus on. And in fact, if we can bathe ourselves in this starlight, right? Because the sun is one thing, the center of our solar system, but it's just a star, just like the other stars. And it's not nearly as intense when they are, many light years away. So we can allow ourselves to just be nourished by this and kind of have, like I said, be trust and optimism in what's happening. Now, what's running in the background that hasn't fully manifested, but is absolutely what is rooting us energetically. Now we have the One of Keys. Yesterday was the One of Forces. Now we have the One of Keys, which is much more incarnated, right? It's much more based in the physical nature and the building of form. The architect is in charge not only of designing and planning, but also executing the building of their whatever it is they're designing and planning. And so at the base here, we are acknowledging that it's time to step into our power. It's one thing to acknowledge the Akashic field, which is the vibratory field of consciousness that manifests, where manifestation comes from, right? In the quantum field. Now it's very much based in our relationship with directing the course of this building, whatever it is. And when we're talking about the keys, we are talking about the very nuts and bolts of our reality, the actual material realm. And so this does point us in the direction of stepping into our power, into our authority to take charge of our life, and to have confidence in our talents and strengths. This is what is running in the background right now for us, is that we are in fact in charge, and we actually make the decisions, we actually direct the course of the building, and we are the ones that have the authority to take charge and to make these changes. So at the root here, and we move up through the heart of the matter, which is this beautiful confidence in nature and life that the star card represents, we do have the Five of Keys, and it is reversed, okay? So wishes fulfilled. You can see that all this abundance, personal abundance, right? Everything that we need and want is right here. All of the food, all of the nourishment in this beautiful location, right? You look out over this valley, everything is here. And the keys to the kingdom, right? They're in the centerpiece of this card, right on the center of this table. Now, when it's reversed, I mean, it does suggest that our conscious awareness is a little bit more focused on what we don't have, what seems to be upset, right? That the table's getting knocked over and everything is just like knocked all over the place. Now we have to work to change our circumstances. Remember, the architect not only, but has to do the designing and the drafting. They have to plan the whole thing and they have to direct it, right? It's important that we realize it's not just going to be plopped into our lap. We actually have to work to change our circumstances, actually do the thing, whatever the thing is. And not only work to change our circumstances, but work to change our responses to them too. That's the other thing. So at our conscious awareness and our attention right now, it may seem like we are losing something or that we're not getting as much as we want. It's important that we remain strong in our small victories and our inner abundance right now. And I think that we do realize that. And that's why in this reversal, it does point to the fact that it's very easy to get caught in the victim or lack mindset. But we also have this trust and optimism at the center here. And we do acknowledge we actually have to do some work to bring this abundance to us, right? It's not just going to come because we wish it to come. Although these wishes are fulfilled, we have to fulfill them in some way. We actually have to do the work in order to allow this to happen. So where we're headed, though, again, the Queen of Wands is definitely reversed. And so Queen is the water, the Wands is the fire. So again, on either side of this, in a causal relationship of cause and effect, right, in this, how it's expressed out in the world. The Queen of Wands, these court cards represent us as people or other people in our lives. And there is a lack of balance here, and it's important that we recognize how easily we can get caught up in being possessive and over dominant here, and the despotism and the recklessness that can come about when we think we're not getting what we deserve or what we want, and an intolerance as well. It also feels like that this is something that we can embody within us rather than necessarily extending it out towards anything. And the fact that the Ten of Cups is also reversed and it has a strong fire element to it with Mars involved does suggest to me that it's not going to feel, we're not going to feel totally in our power necessarily, but we can at least acknowledge that it's here, and acknowledge that we can cultivate it within us, even if it's not really showing itself outside of us right now, or if we don't feel necessarily in our full power. There is something here about the balance being off, right? The water of fire and the fire of water on both ends here. And even in the midst of this, right, our axis of power, where at the center of it, we have this cosmic optimism and trust. And there is a guiding light here. And we do acknowledge on some subconscious level that we're in charge and that we have to actually put some work into having our wishes fulfilled. So the fact that it's reversed here does suggest that, that if we feel disempowered, and we are not engaging with any of this in a conscious way, certainly this can be very reckless and despotic and intolerant. But it also does suggest that things are still a little out of balance. Maybe we need to take some time to cultivate this aspect within us before we can project it out. It also, just because there's all this energy coming in right now, we're not fully upgraded right yet. We have not stepped into this role quite yet. We will step into it. We have the optimism, we trust it, we know that we're in charge of our reality, and we do understand and acknowledge in a conscious way that we have to work to change our circumstances. So maybe we're not totally in alignment with this yet, but it's on its way, right? And this is a powerful card. The Queen of Wands is no one to... she's just so badass. I mean, look at her, right? She's got the rays of the sun. She's got a pine cone, right? The pineal gland on the top of her staff. She is got her hand on this cat. Again, this feline energy is so strong lately. She's got her hand. She controls, and not through force, but just through the sheer, power that she exudes. She balances the elements of fire and water in order to, to balance the, aspects of herself, right? So it's not fully here yet. And I think it's because there's just so much coming in that we have to really allow it some time to integrate fully, but it's coming, and it is already here. The fact that it's reversed is just letting us know that it's already here. It's just not fully manifested quite yet. Okay. So there's some returning characters again. So the Four of Keys, I mean, keeps coming up over and over. So, I mean, if we haven't figured out by now that so much of what's going on is clearing space for us to get to this point, right? There are things, karmic contracts, there are aspects within us that need to be cleared away in order to really step into this higher dimensional existence, right? And things are... happening. They are happening as they need to happen. And we have to actually, again, do the work. The keys are about the material reality. We have to actually get out and do the work. And so what this is saying here, the fact that it's reversed in this guidance position, is that the way has already been cleared, right? We've already cleared the way. And in fact, this upgrade that's coming in is doing a lot to, in fact, clear out whatever debris or lower vibe stuff that's stuck in our body. If you feel pain in certain areas, give it extra love and attention, because those are areas that are still stuck. And we're really feeling it when these upgrades come in, right? These are the areas that are getting actually upgraded. So pay attention in your body where you're feeling that and what's going on energetically as well. And it's important that you're taking the time to really nurture and take care of these areas. But the way has been cleared, right? We've done the work, and now it's like, okay, I'm here to build the next phase. So this is reminding us of that. And the blue heron, I love this card so much because it has so much symbolism here. And of course, make a stand for what you believe in and do what feels right in spite of any judgment or disapproval from others. Man, that's been such a theme for the last year and a half, especially. But trust your deepest sense of knowing, right? And don't rely on others to tell you what to do, what to create, how to create it. Trust your gut. And trust that innate knows exactly what to do, when to do it. And sometimes it's not all here right away, because there was a way that had to be cleared, where there was work that needed to be done. And now the way has been cleared, and we are given the green light to step into our authority and power and really start shaping our reality. Most of our support is going to come from within, right? The most support is going to come from within us, right? We can't rely on it coming from the outside necessarily. So trust your deepest sense of knowing. And the more you do this, the more the haters are going to come out and try to squash you. And you can see that keep coming up over and over and over. So this card, what I really also like about this symbolism is that the bird is standing in a pool of water, right? You're gonna have to wade through other people's stagnant emotions and bullshit, basically. But stand firm, stand tall, know that you are pretty much risen out of it, even if your feet are in the water, and trust your gut, trust your deepest sense of knowing. And if you don't know what that is, that means it's time to give yourself the opportunity to start making a relationship with that intuitive self and the guidance system. The walrus is about being vigilant about the current situation. So we do realize that we have to put some work into having our dreams and wishes fulfilled. It's not just going to plop into our lap just because we want it to be. And if we are having a hard time understanding here what it is that we're putting in and not getting out, we can ask for assistance and ask for guidance, but we have to be vigilant, right? We can't just be like, ugh, I'm not getting any answers. You always get answers. You have to just pay attention. Sometimes it's really subtle. Sometimes things are not ripe yet, if that makes sense. It's like getting a jigsaw puzzle and being like, okay, I'm going to open the box and I want it to be put together already. It's just like, no, you have to actually find all the pieces and make sure they fit together. And then you have this real sense of accomplishment for doing it. And so if you're stuck and you're like, be vigilant about it. Pay attention to the signs and omens, right? Pay attention to your guidance system. Cultivate a deeper relationship. And again, that goes along with meditation, finding stillness, prayer, learning the difference between your higher mind and guidance and your lower compulsive emotions. That's important to know the difference. And that takes time too, right? That takes a lot of time. And sometimes it takes being deceived many times over for us to figure out the difference and be easy on yourself. But this is about being vigilant. We can't just give up. And part of that has to do with the fact that the 7 of keys, the ascension process, this is a singular process. This person did this on their own, right? They had skills, they had equipment, maybe they had a team at the bottom, but at the end of the day, we each have to do this journey ourselves, don't we? And when it's reversed like this, there may be a sudden departure from something. There may be a fall from grace, right? We fell off the top of the mountain. We may have worked really hard, but success still seems like it's eluding us. And perhaps it's time for a new approach. All of these aspects could be in play here. And in fact, this is why it's important to remain vigilant if we're really struggling and we're like, why am I not getting where I want to get to? And remember to hold that optimism and that cosmic coherence at the heart of you, okay? Because it's intense right now. It's really intense. And I see here that we're not necessarily going to come right out of it being in total power. We got some work to do, and the template of it is here if we follow all of this guidance here, but it's still not going to be in full manifestation, if that makes sense. That Queen of Wands being reversed, and this being reversed, I mean, is really pointing to the fact that there is a lot of sudden changes. And when we look at Saturn and Uranus, where they've shifted to today, it's going to make a lot of sense how these sudden departures or these fall from grace or some manner of like falling off the top or working really hard for something just to feel like success is eluding us is all part of this process of learning to shift our perspective, to shift our approach, and to really ground into and connect into our power and authority to be the one to shape our reality. The way has been cleared now, and it has been cleared because this intense energy from the sun that was in conjunction with Sirius, oh my gosh, big Syrian starseed activations, huge, right? With the sun releasing these X-class solar flares, releasing these CMEs without much buffer from the Earth's electromagnetic field, coming right from, in conjunction with Sirius, right? Coming right from Sirius through our sun, and we are getting the full upgrade. And what do the Syrian starseeds represent? You know, who are they? They are the shamans. They are the healers. They are the ones who protect their communities and heal their communities. They are these starseeds. If you have Syrian starseed origins, these are the individuals that are able to create from vibration as a result of their expression. So chanting and drumming and singing and toning are all the shaman's practices. The plant medicine, the mineral connection, the speaking with the animals directly. So again, be vigilant, know who your team is, know your guidance system, know who your allies are in the spirit realm, for instance, however you characterize that, because that's really going to assist you in this process as we're getting these massive upgrades in terms of being able to actually in real time manifest reality for ourselves. Okay, that's really what the Syrian starseeds hold within them, and they're very protective, right? Syrian starseeds, they don't have, and I'm speaking from personal experience here. I mean, my Lord, I have Saturn in the 7th house. That in itself is like a pretty clear demarcation between me and everybody else, right? It can be very isolating and alone to have Saturn in the 7th house. And it's my Syrian marking, right? So even you see here, this is just an example of how you can, how I do these readings for other people, in that Syrian starseeds, they have a very tight-knit group, right? It's a very consolidated, very protected group, and they seem shy, but really they're just sizing you up energetically, right? They're really letting your energy speak for you and figuring out who you actually are, despite anything that you are saying or not saying. And so we need this. This is how we are able to actually get around our reality being hijacked, right? Because that's a big part of what we are all struggling with, is somebody some other entity, some other group, really doing, working overtime. They're really working overtime to keep shaping our reality. And if we want to hack the hackers, we have to allow this upgrade to really come in. So if there is some sort of shift and it seems like, oh, I can't get where I'm going, remember that there is guidance here to help us along the way, and we have to actually do the work in order to fulfill what it is that we want. Okay, so let's look at the chart now as we embark on this journey together. Okay, here's today's chart. I'm going to check in with the stream real quick and see what's going on. All right. Okay, so we see here that the moon is in fact in Gemini, of course, and is going to be for the rest of the day. Like I said, there aren't a ton of transits today. The moon came into a sextile with Mars in Leo as today, just like it did yesterday with Venus, came into a sextile with Venus. And we know that the sextile, that's an investment opportunity, something that we can get out of by investing ourselves into the situation, the harmony of the situation. So in Gemini, we're moving from just like in Leo, moving from combustion to release. In Gemini, you're moving from discovery to exteriorizing it, expressing it, right? Because there's that communication aspect of Gemini, right? Exteriorizing it. It doesn't really, you can't just keep it all to yourself. I mean, you can, but it's a natural progression to then exteriorize it, to give a speech, to dramatize your cause, and to share it with other people. And so we can invest this with the moon, right? So in terms of our emotional energy, what we are feeling within us, in terms of what we've discovered and how we are exteriorizing it, we can really invest this energy from Mars that is coming to a point of, the storm ending and rejoicing in the light, right? Rejoicing in the light. And so we can take these two energies and invest them in each other in order to get the most out of this situation. We can express, and maybe what we're expressing that we're feeling is the incredible amount of, optimism and ambition that Mars has by realizing that, the combustion has happened, and now we can just release all of this passion and creativity. And we want to express it, so we can put these two together and really get something out of it. And then Venus is in a trine to Chiron today. And we talked about this a little yesterday because there was a lot of this energy going on, but now it's exact. And again, this is about our ability to quiet our mind. Quiet our mind. And Venus, right, pulling in where the value is, attracting in, there's a magnetic quality, right? If Mars is the electricity, right, the cardinal fire that's electricity, Venus is the magnetism, right? The Schumann resonance of the earth in some ways, right? The magnetism, attracting in, pulling in, receiving what is harmonious and beautiful and balanced, right? What appeals to her senses. What she values. And so again, pulling in this quieted mind, pulling in the capacity to sit in this quiet recollection of everything that we've been through, like all of the crises, all of the joys, pulling that in and being able to sit with that in this rhythmic fashion, right? Like the old sea captain that is rocking back and forth. Been there, done that. Oh, I remember all of that. In a trine to Chiron, this is a moment where we can really heal that frustration, that we can realize that, yeah, we've been frustrated before. We've been through this before. You can either think about it in your own life. You can think about it in a past life way. You can think about it in a multidimensional perspective, that everything is happening all at once and connecting into that. It's a beautiful opportunity to allow this really dynamic, but also very hot and bothered aspect where Chiron is, can really get some soothing, right? It's soothing to just find that quietness, and Venus pulls it in, and in some ways almost pulls in all of that energy and gives it a place to find some rest, right? We don't have to keep giving ourselves over to this frustration of things not happening, because we've been here before, and this time it's going to be different. So this is like a soothing balm in some ways, this trine. That's how I'm feeling it. All of this fire, but in the midst of the fire, there is a stillness. There's that Queen of Wands again. Wow, that's interesting, right? The stillness of this balance here that we find within us, as opposed to using it to make any kind of change outside of us. Wow. And then from here, the moon is moving through Gemini, is going to meet Neptune retrograde in a square. So there's that mutable square, just like yesterday when Mercury was in a mutable square in the same degree. So now it's something that we're embodying within us, something that is allowing us to adapt to adapt to the situation. It's allowing us to feel it, whereas Mercury was allowing it a conceptualization of this yesterday. Now it's something that we feel very intimately, something that's within us, this square. And again, it's about using the inhibiting circumstances to the rhythm that we use to transcend it in this cross purposes with Neptune retrograde. That's like, I'm pulling away all of the illusion and showing you really actually where your limitations and your strengths are, and where you need to focus in order, and not you, but like all of us, where we are. The Neptune is allowing for this, where you need to focus in order to actualize your dharma, to really focus your energy on living the best possible life that you came here to live. And, sometimes it seems to me that the real challenge of this square from yesterday and now feeling it is just leaning into it, and how uncomfortable it is, because the ice just melts, right? We use the ice as that inhibiting circumstance to skate over and transcend. What happens when the ice melts? Well, then you just have to be in it. And this Neptune retrograde is having us in it, but with full clarity and lucidity, very lucid with Neptune retrograde. Not everybody reads it that way, but I'm definitely reading it that way. And I just watching and seeing how the struggle to hold on and to continue to pump the fog machine is not working. And so we embody this today. We feel it today, and it's very uncomfortable. But boy, there's so much to learn from this situation. And I mean, right into tomorrow is when the moon is going to come into a conjunction with Mercury in Gemini. So that's going to be right as we move over into tomorrow. Technically, still today for those that are moving west on the United States, or the North American, the continents of the Americas. As we move west, it's still going to be this evening, and the moon meets Mercury, that is now out of its post-retrograde shadow, and is giving us an opportunity to bring the feeling and the mind together in this moment here of, the pruning has happened, and now it's the revelation of like the essential archetype. Everything gets stripped down to its basic essential nature. And this is going to be also very important, because tomorrow, I mean, like I said, the moon there's a lot going on tomorrow, including Venus coming into a square with Uranus that has come into a next degree. So let's talk about that. So Uranus is, if you see here, Uranus has moved into the next degree, 14 to 15 degrees Taurus. We've gone through the revitalization by connecting right into the natural world. Now it's about braving the storm. Things are going to get more difficult, and this is where the quickening makes so much more sense, because now we have to just kind of bear down, put our heads down against the storm, and this is where our character is really revealed. And when we're talking about Uranus and Taurus, we're talking about actual disruption in the physical material world, our resources, the physical planet herself, what changes are happening, and Uranus is always turning things on its head, and we can't innovate until we're outside of the box, and sometimes we have to be pushed outside of the box. This is that tower moment in some ways that Uranus represents, turning itself on its side, giving us a new perspective so that we can innovate, that we can revolutionize and be outside of the box. But it is going to be very challenging. And we have Venus here coming into this degree of Leo, squaring it. That's just like, I just want to, oh my God, I just want to party, right? I just want to have fun. I just want to sensationalize all of this release of energy, right? It's like a parade float move. And this is where Mars was in a square with Uranus, but this was before it moved into the next degree. And so Venus at this position, she's going to want to really dramatize everything that she is, all of her expression, all of the passion that she holds, right? To create something is going to be in a direct square to Uranus. It's like, well, it's time to bear down now, right? And that's, again, cross purposes, cross purposes. That's fixed square. So that's going to be really hard. This is tomorrow, right? So this is what's coming. And there's a lot of transits tomorrow with this moon moving from Gemini into Cancer. Also something to keep in mind, while the moon is meeting Mercury, it's going to be in a quincunx. That means Mercury is going to be in a quincunx to retrograde Pluto, right? So adjustment, another wild card energy that the quincunx represents. So there's a lot on our plate for tomorrow that we'll talk way more about when the time comes. Also, like I said, Saturn has moved into the next degree and it's retrograde. And this is a very stark reminder that everybody is exactly where they need to be. And there is a natural progression of states of consciousness, okay? We're all on this staircase to heaven, right? And we all are the same in the eyes of God. And that is why, the mantra and the real title of today's transmission is Just for Today, I'm God's Light, because we have to accept that in our human form, everybody's on a different step, right? And then we have to accept that and be realistic about that. And Saturn is going to make it very obvious and very you know what I mean? It's just going to be that boundary of reality that's just like, as much as you want to be somewhere, you are incarnated in a physical form and you have to allow things to progress naturally. That doesn't mean you're any less or anybody's any better. And that's really important to realize. Nobody is any better. Nobody is any less. It is just that everybody is in their own state of progression because that is part of their, soul's blueprint. And so Saturn, especially in its retrograde, is making this very obvious. It's making it, and we're internalizing it. We're reviewing it. It may seem extra uncomfortable. And we'll come back over this point when Saturn goes direct. So right now we're just like going back over this and being like, oh yeah, everybody is exactly where they need to be. And there is a natural state of progressions of consciousness. And we can't just like in 3D, we can't necessarily just bypass these things. We have to let them unfold very naturally. But that doesn't take away the fact that we're all on the same trajectory in this process, right? Just like with that 7 of keys, the ascent being turned on its head, like maybe in fact we are kind of tumbling down the stairs a little bit. Maybe we're gonna have to pick ourselves up and go back up the mountain. Maybe we're going to have to pay attention to what is being offered as guidance to get us back to where we need to be, and to just be easy on ourselves. This is not easy, but what has been priming us is all of these upgrades that are coming in. So I would recommend that you follow, maybe utilize what I'm going to offer in terms of a prayer. I will put that together and post it on social media today in terms of giving ourselves the space and the ability to just embody the light of source just for today, and to not be angry, not be worried, to have gratitude for everything in our life, to do our work honestly. Ooh. And when I say honestly, I mean honestly. Are you doing things so that it will enhance your own ego, make you feel more important, give you more resources? Or are you doing your spiritual work because that's what you're here to do? That's important. We all need to make a living, and this has been a conversation that just never ends. And it's something that each of us is going to have to come to on our own, what that means. And then finally, being kind to everything, every living being, showing kindness. These are all the this is all here for us to work with. So with that in mind, I'm going to leave it here for today, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to maximize my screen here. If you're interested in a reading or energetic support through Reiki or shamanic energy work, where we cut cords, we get into some soul retrieval, just really powerful work, honestly. And Reiki, and it just goes where it needs to go. It's just channeling divine energy, divine light, and it has its own intelligence beyond anything we can wrap our heads around, and goes where it needs to go. So that's just a really beautiful way to do work. Shamanic energy work's a different story entirely. That's something that is way more active, way more intentional, and has a very specific goal in mind. So if you are interested in any of those things, you can go to the website that's in the description box below and check out the services and reach out that way. And of course, get connected on social media, because I can offer, like I said, I can offer the Reiki principle prayer. I can offer channelings that come through as well through social media. So stay connected. I love you guys. Have a great day. Please take very good care of yourselves. Let me know how you're doing. And let's all stay connected. And I will see you tomorrow for the Daily Medicine tomorrow.